Now they're thinking about impeaching a brilliant jurist, a man that did nothing wrong, a man that was caught up in a hoax that was set up by the Democrats, using the Democrats' lawyers. It was all made up, it was fabricated, and it's a disgrace.
So you heard the word hoax there. President Trump talking about the nomination fight surrounding Justice Kavanaugh, employing that go-to phrase when he encounters a problem, and that is to label something a hoax.
You know, you can talk all you want about Russia, which was all a, fake news, fabricated deal. It's a Democrat hoax that was brought up as an excuse for losing an election. This was really a hoax created largely by the Democrats. The Russian collusion hoax. It's a hoax. Then they go after us for a Russian hoax. It's a witch hunt hoax. I have nothing to do with Russia. I never did. That
so
other deal
totally
was a big hoax. It's
in your view,
it's called the Democrat hoax. It's a big fat hoax. I have nothing to do with Russia. And just remember, what you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening.
While it may seem familiar by now, the practice of labeling something that is unproven as fake or a hoax has its own real dangers. One author explains this in his book, On Tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century. In it, Professor Timothy Snyder writes, quote, "To abandon fact is to abandon freedom. If nothing is true, then no one can criticize power because there is no basis upon which to do so. If nothing is true, then all is spectacle." For more, we welcome back to the broadcast the aforementioned Timothy Snyder, a professor at Yale University. Professor Snyder started academically as a Marshall Scholar, educated in the Ivy League and at Oxford, specializing in Europe and the Holocaust originally. His latest work is The Road to Unfreedom, Russia, Europe, America. We'll have you on next time to talk about that book. First, this $9 investment people can make in their homes and in their lives, specifically on what you have seen since publishing this book, Fake News, Hoax, the danger of it.
Yeah, fake news is a problem because it means you're trying to govern from uncertainty. What you're doing is, as president, filling the public sphere with fiction. Then you blame it on the other side, the Democrats or the journalists, and then you try to govern from a position of confusion. What I've noticed is that the rest of the world looks at this and is copying it. It's particularly disturbing in Germany and Austria, where I've been spending some time lately. In German, there's this phrase Lügenpresse, which is very disturbing. It's made a comeback. The reason it's disturbing is it's what Hitler said about real journalists. He said real journalists were the lying journalists. But the most disturbing thing for us as Americans is the reason why it's come back. Lügenpresse in German is a direct translation of fake news in English. So what we're seeing is that our own ways of undermining our own democracy are starting to ripple outwards.
Here comes your new book into this conversation. So weaving together, as we watch the president arrive back at Andrews from Iowa, weaving together your experience, you can make a direct red line tie from what is going on in the United States to these terrible tales we're hearing in Europe.
Oh, absolutely. This is all one story. There's no such thing as American exceptionalism. What we do matters to everyone else. What everyone else does matters to us. The rise of authoritarianism has been a story throughout the West for the last decade or so. And authoritarians look at Trump. They copy his tactics, the ones that work. They express their admiration for him, just as he expresses his admiration for them.
The four modes in which the truth dies: open hostility to verifiable reality, shamanistic incantation, magical thinking, misplaced faith. How do these all relate to the Trump presidency you've witnessed?
I wrote that before the presidency started, and I wish I could say that all four weren't present, but in your show thus far, we've seen all four. Calling, for example, Russia or the investigation of Russia a hoax is denial of obvious reality. It's denial of the 126 million exposures on Facebook. It's denial of the stolen emails, which affected the debates and the headlines. It's a denial of what the Russians themselves basically admit at this point. And then shamanistic incantation. Those are phrases that were tested, like lock her up precisely. The things that have a magical power to get us to forget about what's actually going on.
Mexico will pay for the wall.
Yeah, and there doesn't have to be a wall. There doesn't have to be a swamp. There just has to be a chant, the thing that makes us feel like us and forget about the facts.
I can't thank you enough for returning to our broadcast. Again, this is the book. Very simple, On Tyranny, written by a man who has just returned from reporting on his next book, and that is Europe, and that's the storyline we just discussed. Sadly, has a lot to do with what we're witnessing. Professor, thank you.
It's my pleasure.
As always, for coming on our broadcast.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.